I am definitely guilty of going through a breakup scenario where I was like, I never loved them. It's like just the heart felt like I'm digging in my feelings and going, I never loved them.
In the long and complicated history of the Brown family, captured for over a decade in the reality series Sister Wives, the central question has slowly emerged like an unavoidable shadow. Did Kody Brown ever truly love all of his wives, or has the entire saga been a story of imbalance, of favoritism, of fractured promises? To answer this, we must step back and examine the origins of the family and the dynamics that played out on camera, analyzing not just what was said, but
why are you rewriting the past?
I'm not rewriting the past.
Yes, you have been,
Kody. Marriage relationship has to be nurtured.
how it was said, and what was left unsaid in moments of silence, sighs, and tears. From the beginning, Kody presented himself as a man who embraced plural marriage not just as a personal choice but as a religious and spiritual calling, insisting that love could be multiplied, that affection could be shared across households, and that each wife would find her place in his heart. Yet as the years unfolded and as the women, Robyn, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, told their sides of the story, what emerged was not an image of equal partnership, but a slow unraveling of ideals clashing with human needs, personalities, and insecurities. Robyn Brown, the fourth and youngest wife to join the family in 2010, quickly became a flashpoint for change, and many viewers still remember the moment when Kody first courted her, the excitement in his voice as he described her presence, and how openly affectionate he was with her in ways the other wives rarely experienced on screen. Robyn once said, paraphrased, that she felt like she and Kody were soulmates brought together after years of searching, and Kody echoed this in his own way, often showering her with compliments, prioritizing her needs, and visibly spending more time in her household. This favoritism did not go unnoticed. Meri, Janelle, and Christine all expressed in different ways their feelings of being pushed aside, as though their marriages, once central, had been relegated to supporting roles in a drama that now had a new leading lady. For Meri Brown,
as far as saying that he never loved his wives, yeah, I feel like that was rewriting past. I feel like he told me that when we were courting, he actually let me know quite often.
First wife and the legal spouse until Kody divorced her in 2014 to marry Robyn, the pain of this transition was perhaps the most devastating. Meri had been there since the beginning, the original partner who had believed in the dream of building a plural family, and yet her relationship with Kody crumbled before the eyes of millions. Viewers recall the infamous catfishing scandal in which Meri, feeling isolated and emotionally abandoned, sought connection online, only to be deceived by someone pretending to be someone else. Kody's reaction to this was not one of empathy or reconciliation but of cold distance. He admitted in later episodes that he no longer felt intimacy with Meri, going so far as to say, paraphrased, that there's nothing there anymore, no real relationship. When Meri tried to reach out, viewers could see her holding back tears, whispering that she still wanted companionship, that she didn't want to live in loneliness, but Kody's body language told a different story. He leaned away, arms crossed, as though protecting himself from obligations he no longer wished to fulfill. Janelle Brown, the second wife, brought a different dimension to the family. She was the pragmatic, financially focused partner, the one who managed much of the logistics, the household budgeting, and who kept a level-headed approach while others were overcome with emotion. For years, Janelle seemed to coexist with Kody in a marriage that was more practical than romantic, but cracks too.
Were you in love with Kody when you got married to him?
I was, yeah.
Did you think Kody was in love with you?
He was.
When Kody became increasingly centered on Robyn's household, Janelle voiced frustration about feeling left to manage on her own, particularly during the period when the family attempted to build on their land in Flagstaff and faced financial strain. She once remarked, paraphrased, that she felt more like a business partner than a wife, a statement that resonated deeply with viewers who had long suspected that Kody's emotional investments were uneven. Janelle's loyalty to the idea of family was strong, yet she also displayed independence, often standing her ground when Kody tried to assert control, particularly during the pandemic when disagreements over rules and restrictions exposed just how divided the households had become. Christine Brown, the third wife, perhaps revealed most clearly the emotional cost of the imbalance. From the beginning, Christine was vocal about wanting a husband who was present, who valued her, and who saw her as more than just one piece of a puzzle. Yet time and again, Christine's hopes were dashed by moments that played out painfully in front of the cameras. One of the most telling scenes came when Christine confessed that Kody had told her he was no longer attracted to her, a confession that left her visibly broken, her voice trembling as she asked what kind of marriage could exist without affection. Christine's departure from the marriage, announced publicly in 2021, marked not just a turning point for the family but also a symbolic collapse of the vision Kody had long claimed to embody. She told viewers, paraphrased, that she could not stay in a marriage where she was not loved, where she was not wanted, and her courage to walk away resonated with many who had witnessed her struggles for years. Together, these stories form a complex portrait. Robyn as the favored wife who seems to receive Kody's full devotion, Meri as the first wife left in emotional exile, Janelle as the practical partner who endured years of feeling undervalued, and Christine as the one who finally broke free from an unbalanced bond. Each woman's journey sheds light on Kody's approach to love, which, when scrutinized, appears less like equal devotion and more like selective attachment shaped by convenience, attraction, and shifting priorities. And so the documentary question remains, was Kody ever truly capable of loving all of his wives, or was the concept of plural love an ideal that collapsed under the weight of human nature? When we revisit the countless moments, the affectionate glances reserved only for Robyn, the cold confessions to Meri, the dismissive tone with Janelle, and the devastating honesty with Christine, we begin to see a pattern of a man torn between principle and preference, between a spiritual image he wanted to project and the personal desires he could not conceal. The story of Kody Brown and his wives is not just about one family, it is about the fragility of ideals when tested by reality, about the pain of women who gave decades of their lives to a shared dream, and about the consequences of love that is promised but not delivered equally. Whether Kody ever truly loved them all is a question.
Works is because they have communication, they have negotiation, and self-respect.
Respect. Like, I respect myself. He respects himself, obviously.
You have self-respect, but did he respect you?
That I don't know.
Only he can answer. But the evidence seen across years of episodes paints a picture of imbalance so stark that viewers cannot help but conclude that the love he offered was conditional, uneven, and, in the end, unsustainable. Viewers cannot help but conclude that the love he offered was conditional, uneven, and, in the end, unsustainable. And as the years unfolded, this conclusion only grew stronger. Fans watching from their living rooms began asking questions that the Browns themselves seemed unwilling, or perhaps unable, to answer. Did Kody ever really love Meri, or was she simply the first stepping stone in a lifestyle he thought would bring him honor? One fan wrote on a forum dedicated to Sister Wives. Another echoed the sentiment, if Meri was his foundation, why was she left to crumble alone while the rest of the family moved forward? Meri Brown's journey struck viewers as the most haunting. Once the legal wife and spiritual cornerstone of the family, she was gradually reduced to the margins. Scenes of her waiting for Kody to visit, her attempts to repair their fractured bond, and ultimately her painful admission during a tell-all that she no longer had a marriage at all, these moments became etched in the memories of fans. Reactions poured in. "My heart breaks every time Meri smiles through her pain," a viewer commented, while another added, "She gave decades of her life only to be left with nothing but scraps of affection." For many, Meri's endurance was seen not as loyalty, but as tragic proof of how far love can be stretched before it vanishes entirely. Then there was Janelle Brown, practical, independent, and often described as the glue holding the plural family together. For years, she kept the household running, managed the finances, and raised her children with quiet determination. Yet fans noticed what Kody seemed not to. Janelle's needs were consistently pushed aside. Janelle never demanded much, but shouldn't a husband notice when his wife is carrying the weight of an empire? One fan asked in disbelief. As Janelle began to pull away in later seasons, choosing peace over endless conflict, social media lit up. Viewers praised her courage. She deserves freedom. She deserves someone who sees her, not someone who takes her for granted. Christine Brown's departure marked the most dramatic turning point. When she finally declared she was leaving Kody, millions of viewers felt vindicated. For years, Christine had voiced her loneliness, her desire for partnership, her heartbreak over being sidelined in favor of Robyn. Fans remembered her raw words in earlier episodes, paraphrased but unforgettable, "I don't want to be in a marriage where I'm not loved." When she packed her bags and walked away, the fan reaction was electric. Online threads celebrated her decision as an act of liberation. "Christine just showed every woman that it's okay to walk away when you're not valued," one viewer wrote. Others wept with relief, calling her ex at the moment the show transformed from quiet heartbreak into undeniable confrontation. And then there was Robyn Brown, the final wife, whose entrance shifted the family dynamic forever. From the moment Kody legally divorced Meri in order to marry Robyn, fans noted the stark imbalance. Scenes of Kody's affection toward Robyn, his constant presence at her home, his defense of her feelings, his visible tenderness, stood in painful contrast to the coldness shown to his other wives. Fan forums captured the outrage. "Why is Robyn treated like a queen while the others are left as afterthoughts?" another viewer wrote. Some defended Robyn, arguing she was simply the wife Kody truly loved. Others, however, saw her as both a cause and a symbol of the family's unraveling. "It wasn't just Robyn's presence," a fan explained. "It was the way Kody abandoned everyone else for her." By this stage, the imbalance was impossible to ignore. Episodes depicted wives sitting in tears, speaking of neglect, while Kody doubled down on his commitment to Robyn alone. The audience reaction grew harsher.
My life was just wrapped up in what Kody needed and what he wanted and what the family needed and wanted.
One popular reaction summed it up. "We all thought we were watching a show about plural marriage, but it turned out to be a show about one man choosing one wife and leaving the rest behind." This collapse of trust was not confined to the Brown household. Viewers, invested after more than a decade of episodes, felt personally betrayed. Fans who had once admired Kody's attempt to juggle love, family, and faith now voiced frustration, even anger. "We stuck with him for years, hoping he'd rise to the challenge," one commenter lamented. "Instead, we watched him fail each wife one by one." Others asked the harder question, did Kody ever love any of them, or did he only love the idea of being the center of four women's lives? In the end, the saga of Kody Brown became more than the story of one family. It became a cautionary tale about imbalance, neglect, and the heavy cost of conditional love. And as the dust settles, viewers continue to react, debate, and wonder aloud. Was this family ever about shared love and unity, or was it always destined to fracture under the weight of Kody's choices? Was this family ever about shared love and unity, or was it always destined to fracture under the weight of Kody's choices? The question lingers, echoing through the minds of fans long after the final scenes fade to black. For many, the answer lies not in what was said, but in what was shown. Over the course of more than a decade, Sister Wives gave audiences a front row
I can still be very friendly with Kody. I never really had much of a relationship with Robyn.
Specific examples why you don't want to be friends with her.
I could sit and talk to them. That would be fine.
Yeah.
If it was all superficial, I would be fine.
to a family that was supposed to model cooperation, faith, and resilience. Instead, it revealed cracks in the foundation so deep that even the strongest bonds could not survive. Viewers recall the early episodes, where the Browns spoke passionately about the beauty of plural marriage. Kody, with his trademark enthusiasm, once explained that love should be multiplied, not divided. The wives nodded, speaking of sisterhood, shared responsibility, and the dream of raising children in a community of care. Fans were intrigued. Some were skeptical, others curious. But the message was clear. Here was a family determined to prove that love could expand without breaking. Yet as the seasons unfolded, that dream unraveled. And fans did not just watch, they participated. They asked questions online, debated loyalties, and analyzed every episode with the intensity of detectives piecing together a case. If love is supposed to multiply, why does it feel like it's only been divided? One viewer wrote. Another countered, maybe it was never about multiplication. Maybe it was always about control. Christine's departure especially became a cultural turning point. Fan forums lit up the night her decision aired. Did anyone else cry when Christine walked away? One user posted. Replies flooded in, yes. She was so brave. She deserved better years ago. This is the moment I realized Kody wasn't capable of plural love. Social media platforms became spaces of collective catharsis, where viewers who had invested more than a decade of their lives into this story finally released years of pent-up frustration. But the reactions weren't only sympathetic. Some fans turned their criticism directly toward the wives themselves. Meri, for example, faced both compassion and skepticism. Why didn't she leave sooner, people asked. Why stay in a relationship where you're unwanted? Others defended her, reminding everyone of the deep ties of faith and family that made leaving far more complex than outsiders might understand. Meri isn't weak, a commenter explained. She's trapped in a system that told her loyalty was the highest virtue. Janelle, too, drew mixed reactions. Fans praised her independence but wondered why she endured for so long. She's smart, she's strong, so what was she waiting for? The answer, perhaps, was as simple as the children. For decades, Janelle focused on raising her 6 kids, ensuring their stability even if her own happiness was sacrificed. Fans acknowledged that sacrifice, calling her the unsung hero of the family. Without Janelle, one viewer noted, the whole structure would have fallen apart years ago. Robyn's role remained the most divisive. For every fan who sympathized with her, who argued she was unfairly villainized simply for being Kody's favorite, there were dozens who pointed to her as the catalyst of the family's collapse. Her tears, her closeness with Kody, her legal marriage while the others remained spiritual, all became fuel for fan outrage. Memes circulated mocking her position as the queen wife. Hashtags like #SobinRobyn trended after emotional scenes. Yet others